Hollywood is a place of dazzling lights and unforgettable performances, where actors slip into characters that make us laugh, cry, and dream. But sometimes, the most powerful story an actor tells isn't on screen. It's their own. For decades, being openly gay in Hollywood meant risking it all. Roles lost, careers stalled, and doors quietly closed. But today, a new generation of stars is rewriting the script, stepping forward with honesty, pride, and purpose. These actors are not just playing heroes, they are heroes, living their truth in an industry that hasn't always made room for it. So before we dive into their incredible journeys, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Jim Parsons may be best known to audiences around the world as Sheldon Cooper, the socially awkward, hyper-intelligent physicist who stole the show on The Big Bang Theory. But behind the scenes, Parsons is someone very different, thoughtful, reserved, and quietly living a life far removed from the chaotic brilliance of his most iconic character. For years, Parsons kept his private life exactly that, private. Even as The Big Bang Theory catapulted him to superstardom and made him one of the highest-paid actors on television, he remained tight-lipped about his personal relationships. What most fans didn't know was that he had been in a committed relationship with graphic designer Todd Spywak since 2002. It wasn't until a 2012 New York Times profile that Parsons casually, almost offhandedly, mentioned he was gay and in a long-term relationship. There was no big headline, no dramatic coming-out moment, just a quiet truth shared with grace and authenticity. In an industry that often demands spectacle, Parsons' understated revelation was both refreshing and deeply personal, and it fit him perfectly. Hollywood's response? Overwhelmingly positive. There was no backlash, no loss of roles, only support and admiration. Parsons continued to lead The Big Bang Theory through several more blockbuster seasons, earning awards, accolades, and cementing his status as one of the defining sitcom stars of the 21st century. In 2018, after more than 15 years together, Parsons and Spywak were married in an intimate ceremony in New York City. It was another quiet milestone in a love story that had never sought the spotlight, but nonetheless became a beacon for LGBTQ+ visibility in mainstream entertainment. Jim Parsons didn't come out with fanfare. He didn't need to. His strength has always been in his sincerity and in showing that living openly, even softly, can be a revolutionary act. Neil Patrick Harris first won hearts as the precocious teenage prodigy in Doogie Howser, M.D. But it was his unforgettable turn as the sharp-suited, fast-talking womanizer Barney Stinson on How I Met Your Mother that cemented his place as a pop culture icon. With impeccable timing, charisma, and comedic brilliance, Harris made a character that could have easily been unlikable into one of the most beloved figures on television. But behind the scenes, Harris was navigating a personal crossroads. For years, he kept his private life under wraps, well aware of the risks that being openly gay could pose in a still cautious Hollywood. In 2006, as rumors swirled and pressure mounted, Harris made a simple, powerful choice. He came out. His statement was brief but confident, affirming who he was without apology or fanfare. And something incredible happened. The world didn't turn away. It leaned in. Hollywood embraced him. Fans cheered, and the industry began to shift. Harris wasn't sidelined or typecast. He thrived. His portrayal of Barney remained iconic, proof that audiences could separate actor from character and celebrate talent above all else. From there, his star only rose. Harris wowed audiences on Broadway in Hedwig and the Angry Inch, delivered memorable performances in films like Gone Girl, and brought show-stopping energy as host of the Oscars, Emmys, and Tonys. Each appearance was a masterclass in charm, wit, and unapologetic authenticity. Off-screen, Harris built a life that many found aspirational. He and his husband, David Burtka, became fathers to twins, often sharing moments of family life that felt refreshingly real and joyful. They weren't just a couple. They were a symbol of how far LGBTQ+ visibility had come, and how love and family could look in the modern era. Neil Patrick Harris didn't just come out, he stepped up. He proved that living truthfully in Hollywood didn't mean losing opportunities, it meant gaining freedom. His career became not just a testament to his talent, but to the power of authenticity. In doing so, he didn't just help change the game, he helped redefine it entirely. Wentworth Miller, best known for his intense, razor-sharp portrayal of Michael Scofield on Prison Break, shocked the world in 2013, not with a twist in a TV script, but with a deeply personal revelation. After receiving an invitation to a Russian film festival, Miller declined, penning an open letter that not only called out Russia's harsh anti-LGBTQ+ laws, but also revealed a truth he had hidden for decades: he was gay. It wasn't a carefully choreographed media moment. It was raw, brave, and deeply personal, a declaration made not for headlines but for healing. For years, Miller had lived in fear. Fear that coming out would ruin his career. Fear that Hollywood, still reluctant to embrace openly gay leading men, would turn its back. Behind the polished performances and red carpet appearances was a man grappling with depression, isolation, and suicidal thoughts. Miller later admitted he had tried to take his own life more than once before coming out. His silence wasn't just painful, it was life-threatening. That moment in 2013 marked a radical turning point. No longer hiding, no longer apologizing, Miller began to speak openly. Not just about sexuality, but about mental health, masculinity, and the pressure to conform. He became a powerful voice in the fight for LGBTQ+ visibility and mental health awareness, using his platform not for celebrity, but for change. And he didn't fade from view, he evolved. Miller continued acting in shows like The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, but now on his own terms. He stepped behind the camera too, writing and producing, bringing stories to life that didn't just entertain, but resonated. Wentworth Miller's story isn't one of Hollywood's scandal or overnight reinvention. It's one of slow-burning resilience, of choosing truth over fear, and of redefining strength not as stoic silence, but as unapologetic vulnerability. By stepping into the light, he didn't just save himself. He illuminated a path for countless others to follow. Jesse Tyler Ferguson became a household name as Mitchell Pritchett on Modern Family, a groundbreaking role that helped reshape how America sees same-sex couples on television. With sharp wit, dry humor, and quiet vulnerability, Ferguson brought Mitchell to life not as a stereotype, but as a fully realized human being, a neurotic, loving, career-driven dad trying to navigate life, love, and fatherhood. And it worked. Audiences didn't just laugh with him, they rooted for him. At a time when LGBTQ+ characters were often sidelined or caricatured, Ferguson's portrayal felt revolutionary. His chemistry with co-star Eric Stonestreet, who played the exuberant Cameron Tucker, created one of TV's most iconic couples. Together, they broke down walls, one hilarious episode at a time, proving that gay families could be just as chaotic, flawed, and heartfelt as any other on primetime TV. But Jesse wasn't just acting, he was living his truth. An openly gay man from the start of his career, he didn't hide who he was. In 2013, he married his longtime partner Justin Makita in a ceremony that made headlines not just for its romance, but for its symbolism. A gay TV dad becoming one in real life. Then, in 2020, the couple welcomed their first child, a moment Jesse called the most profound and humbling of his life. Since Modern Family wrapped in 2020 after 11 seasons, Ferguson has returned to his theater roots, earning praise for his Broadway performances while also stepping up as a fierce advocate for LGBTQ+ rights. Through his nonprofit work, public speaking, and unapologetic visibility, he continues to champion equality and representation for the next generation. Jesse Tyler Ferguson didn't just help change the script. He rewrote what it means to be successful, openly gay, and authentically human in Hollywood. His story is a reminder that progress on screen can lead to real progress off it, and that sometimes just being yourself is the most powerful role you'll ever play. Sir Ian McKellen isn't just a legendary actor. He's a fearless trailblazer for LGBTQ+ visibility in entertainment. Long before it was considered safe to be out in Hollywood or the West End, McKellen came out as gay in 1988, live on national radio. But this wasn't just a personal declaration, it was a political stand. At the time, the UK government was pushing Section 28, a law designed to silence LGBTQ+ voices in schools. McKellen didn't stay silent. He used his fame to fight back, becoming one of the first major actors to come out while still at the top of his game. The risk was real. Back then, being openly gay could end a career, but McKellen's only soared higher. He went on to land two of the most iconic roles in modern film, the powerful Magneto in X-Men and the wise Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Both roles cemented him as a global star and proved that being proudly gay wasn't a liability, it was part of his legend. Off-screen, McKellen continues to be a tireless advocate, founding charities, speaking out, and inspiring generations of LGBTQ+ individuals. His courage didn't just open doors, it kicked them wide open. In an industry that once forced many into the shadows, Ian McKellen became a beacon of light. Luke Evans, the magnetic Welsh actor whose screen presence has lit up everything from Beauty and the Beast to Dracula Untold to the Hobbit trilogy, is a modern-day anomaly in Hollywood. Not because he's gay, but because he's never made it a big deal. And that's exactly what makes his story so compelling. Evans didn't issue a press release or orchestrate a coming-out interview. Instead, he lived openly, confidently, and authentically from the start, showing that being gay doesn't need to be a headline, it can just be a fact of life. In an industry long plagued by the belief that an openly gay actor couldn't play a convincing straight romantic lead, Luke Evans rewrote the script. With his smoldering intensity, chiseled looks, and commanding performances, he's made audiences swoon, cheer, and sometimes flinch, all while never hiding who he is. Whether he's wooing Belle in a Disney blockbuster or battling ancient evil as a gothic action hero, Evans has proved that talent doesn't have a sexual orientation. But what sets Evans apart isn't just his resume, it's his approach. He's not the kind of celebrity who leads marches or gives fiery speeches, though he supports the causes. Instead, his visibility comes in the form of normalcy. He lives openly. He posts about his partner. He walks red carpets without hiding. That quiet, steady presence is powerful in its own right. For young actors watching from the sidelines, wondering if they'll have to choose between success and authenticity, Luke Evans is a living answer. No, you don't. Hollywood often rewards spectacle, but Luke Evans has earned his place not by being loud, but by being real. And that subtle, unwavering integrity has made him a quietly revolutionary figure in entertainment. He didn't storm the gates. He simply walked through them as himself and stayed. In doing so, he's not only changed perceptions, he's redefined what strength, masculinity, and success can look like in today's Hollywood. You simply can't talk about LGBTQ+ visibility in Hollywood without talking about Ellen DeGeneres. In 1997, Ellen did something no other A-list star had done. She came out as gay in real life, and so did her sitcom character on the same night. That now legendary puppy episode of Ellen wasn't just television history, it was a cultural earthquake. At a time when being openly gay could mean career suicide, Ellen stood up and said, "Yep, I'm gay," on national television. It was bold, it was raw, and it changed everything. But not without a cost. The backlash was swift and painful. Advertisers pulled out, religious groups protested, and the media frenzy was relentless. Just a year later, her sitcom was canceled. Offers dried up. Ellen, once America's sweetheart, was suddenly persona non grata in Hollywood. For years, she was virtually blacklisted, and many believed her career was over. But Ellen DeGeneres doesn't stay down. She came back, stronger, smarter, and more unapologetically herself. In 2003, she launched The Ellen DeGeneres Show, which went on to become one of the most successful talk shows in history. Her charm, humor, and message of kindness won back the public's love, and more importantly, it gave her a new platform to advocate for acceptance, equality, and authenticity. Ellen went from being a risk to becoming a role model. Her courage to live out loud, even when it cost her everything, inspired a generation. Today, she's not just a comedian or a talk show host. She's a symbol of resilience and a true LGBTQ+ pioneer whose legacy reaches far beyond the stage. Jodie Foster's career has always spoken volumes. From her haunting performance as a child star in Taxi Driver to her Oscar-winning roles in The Accused and The Silence of the Lambs, Foster has built a legacy of intelligence, intensity, and brilliance on screen. But off-screen, she was famously private. For decades, speculation swirled about her personal life, particularly her sexuality. But Foster remained silent. Not because she was ashamed, but because she fiercely guarded her privacy in a world that demanded constant access. Then came the 2013 Golden Globe Awards. Accepting the Cecil B. DeMille Award, Foster gave a speech that instantly became one of the most talked about moments of the night and of her career. With grace, humor, and deep emotion, she publicly acknowledged her sexuality for the first time. "I already did my coming out 1,000 years ago," she said with a knowing smile, referring to her longtime openness with family and friends. It wasn't a flashy declaration. It wasn't meant for headlines. It was, in true Jodie Foster fashion, subtle, intelligent, and powerful in its restraint. The reaction was immediate and overwhelmingly supportive. Fans and colleagues applauded her authenticity and the dignified way she chose to share her truth. In a town that often rewards spectacle, Foster's quiet courage stood out. She didn't need to shout it. She didn't need a magazine cover or a viral tweet. Just her words, her presence, and her truth, spoken on her terms. And in doing so, Jodie Foster further solidified her role not just as one of Hollywood's finest actors, but as a quiet force of LGBTQ+ representation, proving that you don't have to be loud to make a lasting impact. Zachary Quinto made headlines in 2011 when he publicly came out as gay, but this wasn't about a magazine cover moment or boosting his public image. It was a deeply personal response to a devastating tragedy, the suicide of Jamie Rodemeyer, a 14-year-old who took his own life after enduring relentless anti-gay bullying. For Quinto, the news hit like a thunderbolt. He saw himself in Jamie, the isolation, the fear, the silence. And that silence, he realized, could no longer be an option. Coming out was no longer just about personal truth. It was about visibility, about saving lives, about saying to millions of young people, "You are not alone." His announcement wasn't sensationalized. It came through an interview in New York Magazine, understated but unwavering. "Living a gay life without publicly acknowledging it is simply not enough," he wrote. That quiet declaration rippled across Hollywood and beyond. Fans embraced him, colleagues applauded him, and perhaps most importantly, Young people who felt invisible suddenly saw someone like them standing tall on a global stage. What's remarkable is that his career didn't just survive, it thrived. He continued to secure commanding roles, most notably reprising his role as Spock in the Star Trek franchise, proving that being openly gay didn't disqualify him from playing iconic, traditionally straight characters. He brought complexity, strength, and sensitivity to every performance, slowly helping to dismantle stereotypes about what a leading man should look or love like. But Quinto didn't stop at coming out. He became an outspoken advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, youth suicide prevention, and mental health awareness. Whether through public speaking, activism, or choosing roles with social impact, he used his platform to make a difference. His courage wasn't just in what he said, it was in how he lived, authentically, fearlessly, and with purpose. In an industry where image is everything, Zachary Quinto proved that truth can be the most powerful brand of all. Then came Billy Porter, a whirlwind of talent, fashion, and fearless authenticity who refused to be ignored. For years, Hollywood didn't know what to do with him. He was too bold, too flamboyant, too black, and too gay for the neat little boxes the industry used to confine talent. Casting directors saw him as too much for leading roles and not enough for the rest. But Porter never toned himself down to fit in. He knew his power wasn't in hiding, but in shining. After decades of rejection and being overlooked, Porter broke through in spectacular fashion with his Tony Award-winning performance as Lola in Kinky Boots in 2013. He didn't just sing and dance, he exploded on that Broadway stage with a fire that couldn't be contained. But it was his role as Pray Tell in Pose that marked a cultural turning point. The groundbreaking FX series put Black and Latinx LGBTQ+ lives front and center in a way mainstream television had never dared to do. And at its heart was Porter, raw, magnetic, vulnerable, and triumphant. Pray Tell wasn't just a role, it was personal. Porter poured his life into it, drawing from his own battles with racism, homophobia, and HIV stigma. His performance was more than acting, it was a reclamation of space, of history, of worth. In 2019, that truth was recognized when he made history as the first openly gay black man to win an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series. But Billy Porter didn't stop there. He turned the red carpet into a revolution, rocking gowns, capes, crowns, and unapologetic elegance. He used fashion as a form of protest, of storytelling, of joyful defiance. Every outfit, every interview, every moment became a stage, and Billy delivered a show-stopping message every time. You can be fabulous and fearless. You can be queer and powerful. You can be you and still win. In a world that tried for years to silence him, Billy Porter didn't just speak. He sang, he strutted, he soared. And in doing so, he gave a generation permission to do the same. Marlon Brando was widely celebrated for his exceptional acting talent, but his personal life was equally intriguing. He married 3 times, yet speculation about his sexuality has persisted for decades. One of the most enduring rumors was his alleged affair with fellow Hollywood icon James Dean. Darwin Porter's biography, Brando Unzipped, also claimed Brando had relationships with stars like Cary Grant, Montgomery Clift, and Sir John Gielgud. In a 1976 interview, Brando openly addressed his experiences with homosexuality, stating, "Like a large number of men, I too have had homosexual experiences, and I am not ashamed." Adding to the speculation, Quincy Jones shocked Hollywood in 2018 by claiming Brando had slept with comedian Richard Pryor. Pryor's widow, Jennifer Lee, confirmed the story, while his daughter Rain vehemently denied it, accusing her stepmother of tarnishing his legacy. Brando's relationship with James Dean has been described as more than just a fling. The book James Dean, Tomorrow Never Comes, alleges they had an intense S&M dynamic, with Brando as the dominant figure and Dean emotionally attached. Jones also suggested Brando had a romantic connection with writer James Baldwin, though their relationship remains ambiguous. Brando spoke of Baldwin with deep admiration, once saying, "If you asked me what was important or lasting, it would have to be that I walked and sat and dreamed next to a man named James Baldwin." Brando was further rumored to have had a brief encounter with Cary Grant during a weekend in San Francisco. Porter's biography claims Grant had also pursued actor Stuart Granger, who allegedly became another of Brando's conquests. However, Porter's work is known for sensationalizing Hollywood's hidden affairs, leaving many of these claims open to doubt. Spencer Tracy's legendary career spanned 4 decades, earning him 9 Academy Award nominations and 2 wins. But while his talent was undeniable, his personal life remained shrouded in mystery, particularly regarding his sexuality. Tracy's marriage to Louise Treadwell produced 2 children, yet they lived separately, reportedly due to his strong Roman Catholic beliefs, which also prevented him from divorcing. Publicly, he was linked to starlets like Ingrid Bergman and Hedy Lamarr, but rumors persisted about a long-term relationship with actor John Derek. Some even suggested that his famous romance with Katharine Hepburn was carefully managed by the studio. The speculation resurfaced in Vanity Fair when writer Amy Fine Collins cited Hollywood insider Richard Gully's casual remarks about Tracy's sexuality. The claims stirred controversy. Hepburn was reportedly upset, and Tracy's daughter, Susanna, dismissed them as absurd. Beyond the rumors, Tracy was a deeply private and complex figure. He battled alcoholism, suffered from depression, and famously trashed a film set in a drunken rage. Yet on screen, he transformed effortlessly into his characters, prompting Humphrey Bogart to praise him. "Spence is the best we have because you don't see the mechanism at work." James Dean, the legendary actor known for just 3 films, remains an enduring symbol of the rebellious outsider, even in the 21st century. Though he died tragically at 24 in 1955, speculation about his personal life, particularly his sexuality, has never faded. Since the 1970s, numerous books have attempted to uncover the truth. In The Real James Dean, 1975, his close friend Jonathan Gilmour claimed they had intimate encounters. Another biography, Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Paul Alexander, suggested Dean had a relationship with Pastor James DeWeird, and Elizabeth Taylor once stated that Dean confided in her about being abused by a priest after his mother's death. Publicly, Dean dated women like Barbara Glenn, Pier Angeli, and Ursula Andress, but many believe he was also involved with men. His roommate and close friend William Bast admitted to experimentation with Dean, describing their relationship as emotionally complex. Director Nicholas Ray outright called Dean bisexual, while biographer Darwin Porter alleged he had a sadomasochistic relationship with Marlon Brando. When asked about his sexuality, Dean once responded, "No, I am not a homosexual, but I'm also not going through life with one hand tied behind my back." Some argue his relationships with men were strategic for his career, while others believe they reflected his true identity. Regardless of the speculation, Dean's legacy has only grown. The Gay Times once named him the greatest male gay icon of all time, proving that, even decades after his death, he remains a rebel, without a cause and without a label.